Today on Locked On Phoenix Suns, the Suns moved to 2-0 in the preseason, beating Matt Ishbia's hometown Pistons. What did we see about this offense? More rookie watch, and the rotation is changing before our very eyes. Let's go.
You are Locked On Suns, your daily Phoenix Suns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back into Locked On Phoenix Suns. I'm Brendan Clean, a staff writer at Awful Announcing and a credentialed Suns media member. Thank you for making Locked On Suns your first listen to kick off your Wednesday. Don't forget, Locked On Suns is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, so click that follow or subscribe button to do what thousands of other Suns fans have already done, become an everydayer and get locked on to the Phoenix Suns right here each and every day. Today's episode, guys, is brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook. Start the season with a big return at FanDuel by placing your first $5 bet and getting started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Joining me, as always, the executive producer of The Drive on Fox Sports 910 from the wonderful West Valley. How are we feeling on this Wednesday, Ben Garcia?
So much better, which is so stupid, but so much better than what I felt on Sunday night. Where, yes, the Suns were totally fine on Sunday night. But today just looked a little different. But it's the Pistons, so that'll do that. But anyways, I'm doing great. Doing great.
Let's plug this at the top here. We have our Locked On Suns board bets that we want you guys to check out. So it'll be in the show description wherever you're finding us tonight, today, tomorrow, wherever, whenever. Click that link. It'll take you to a Google form, basically just a questionnaire, and you get to speak. You get to give your picks about all assortment of things that are going to happen with the Suns this year. Wins, finishing in the standings, points per game for a bunch of players, offense, defense. We have a bunch of fun ones in there. And then Ben and I will not only read your audience responses, but we will also give our picks sometime next week. So be ready for that. Participate, please. We want as many answers as possible so you can make us look like fools at the end of the season when you're right and we're wrong. The game's not over yet. I don't have a final score for you guys, but the Suns have won. The white flag lineups are out. 2-0 in the preseason, and this offense continues to just look like a finer and finer tuned machine. I don't even want to say finely tuned machine, Ben, because it feels like there's still a lot that is going to improve here, but 36 points in this first quarter. Kevin Durant, 21 points. Bradley Beal, 12 points, but only on 9 shot attempts. And every bit the type of style that we wanted to see. So let's kind of keep it through the Durant lens here, Ben, because he was kind of the shining guy tonight. Any observations, any excitement and hype from another level? You mentioned it felt a little different. Tell me why.
Well, it did look like Kevin Durant just looks so much more natural in the position he's being put in with now Mike Budenholzer. And overall, I think this is a box that we do have to check every year now that we're getting into the later years of Kevin Durant, where no one ever actually thought he was washed. No one. But he wasn't great in the first game, and it's just nice to see Kevin Durant is still Kevin Durant. You don't get off that kind of shot making. His very first bucket of the game was a turnaround jumper on the baseline with some dude in his face. And that was just like, well, man, that's Kevin Durant. I mean, that's Kevin Durant. And allowing him to not be so easily doubled by other teams, getting him in space, and man, you just forget, because he's so good everywhere, but you just forget how silky smooth of a three-point shooter Kevin Durant looked like. He didn't look like Golden State Warriors Kevin Durant, but he looked like Golden State Warriors Kevin Durant in that sort of offense. Like, obviously, that sort of Kevin Durant was a top 5 player of all time if you just isolate those few seasons. But I saw a lot of the wing jumpers, the baseline jumpers, where he's just taking guys one-on-one easily. He's not getting doubled. Now, again, it's the Pistons. Things change very easily. But he just looked good and free-flowing, and it just, again, did not look so stagnant. Running plays for Kevin Durant, having him bring up the ball up the court a couple of times. Like, that is what I needed to see. Kevin Durant more involved in an offense, and not Frank Vogel throwing him out there and saying, hey, figure it out because you're really awesome. And we'll get to that in a second because I've got something that I got to say about Frank Vogel. And again, it's two games. I have to preface it with that, but that's what I saw from Kevin Durant. What about you?
Yeah, the versatility. It wasn't just that he was used; it was that he was used in a bunch of different ways. That's really exciting, right? It reminds you that you don't just have a great player; you have like one of the best Swiss Army knives in the history of the NBA on the offensive end. Not only is his shot unblockable and he can just get buckets in isolation, like you mentioned he did at the beginning of the game, but he can be your point guard here and there. He can be a screen and roll guy, which we've seen him be a little bit more when he's the center in certain lineups, and even when he's not, frankly, in addition to being a lethal spot-up player and everything else. There's just no shortage of ways that you can deploy him, and it did seem like Frank Vogel just forgot about that at times. But yeah, you mentioned the Warriors. I mean, whatever. I think KD gets a bad rap as being, he is a heavy isolation guy. He is a player that wants to go one-on-one. But there's a difference in how those isolations can work. I mean, it's almost a year ago to the day where Devin Booker and Bradley Beal were missing games early in last season, and KD's ISOs were about as static and slow and wasteful as anybody in basketball. And all of a sudden now, even when he is isolating, they're setting back screens so guys are open for weak side threes, and they're keeping the defense honest and not able to load up on him. And then, he's getting transition buckets. He had multiple of those. It is always going to be the case that Kevin Durant, and frankly, add Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, that they are going to want to get theirs just sort of going to work one-on-one at times. But putting them in a position to do that with space, in a good rhythm, with the right types of lineups and spacing around them, that is what was missing. And I thought today was an awesome example of taking what did work at times last year and just making it better in very simple ways.
It's a really, really good way to put it, because you had mentioned Kevin Durant wants to go one-on-one with players. I wouldn't even say it so much as that, but he's so good at manipulating the defender at getting to his spots because he can still get to the rim, so no one wants to just let him blow by them. They're too afraid because he can hit an open three, so they got to come up to him. He's so good at not necessarily getting a defender on his hip, but getting off the screen and getting to his spots, especially on the baseline and on the elbow jumpers. And now when you add in that extra ability to shoot the wing three-point shots, and the one thing I felt like we were missing so much for Kevin Durant, not just with Coach Budenholzer, but with Monty Williams, so many times I would watch KD, whether it was with OKC, with the Golden State Warriors, with the Brooklyn Nets, those pull-up three-point jumpers. That we didn't see a ton of those tonight. We saw one or two of them. But Kevin Durant's ability, very similar to Devin Booker's pull-up threes, where it's literally 6 seconds into a shot clock, and it's just so demoralizing to a defense. We did not see that last year with Kevin Durant because he either wasn't bringing the ball up, because there wasn't easy screeners, just very easy screeners on the either right or left side of the court, being able for him to pull up and just demoralize the defense and get back on defense, set it. And everything about Kevin Durant was exactly what we didn't see last year. It was far too much save me, Frank Vogel style, to now Coach Budenholzer, where I don't know. It's 2 games, but I don't know what they were seeing in Milwaukee. I don't know why they chased this guy out. The offense is so much more fluid. I don't get it. I didn't get it then. I don't get it now. And personally, I just don't know what Frank Vogel was doing last year. Seriously. Maybe he just passed it off to Kevin Young. Sorry,
well, I think in large part he did, but either way, I don't care who we're blaming. It was gross, and it needed to improve. And Mike Budenholzer, look, I guess it's just the pressure of having a generational talent on your team like Giannis. You do make rash decisions and panic and things like that, and their loss is our reward here. So I guess let the bygones be bygones with the Bucks. They screwed it up. They got their 4th coach in 2 years or whatever it is, and we'll see what happens. But to close out on the defensive end too, because I thought we did see something interesting in terms of a defensive wrinkle in how KD was utilized. He started this game defending Cade Cunningham, and they did switch a lot, and I think they will continue to switch a lot. But to Vogel's credit, I guess a little bit, we did see some of that last year. And it's just a good reminder that Durant is also one of the best on-ball defenders on this team. But when you're not having him barrel into loaded up defenses and have to take 30 shots a night and be the only difference maker on the court because of health and poor roster building and everything else, it's hopefully you would hope some of those defensive abilities and pluses can be pulled out of him on a more consistent basis this season than they were last year, where it was like a month, but I think it just was never realistic given how much was already being asked of him that he could do that on a night in, night out basis. And frankly, dude probably got frustrated, and I don't exactly blame him that he's having to save the day every night. So maybe just the vibes will be better. But let's jump to the rookies. I'm sorry to cut you off there.
No, you
Ben,
didn't.
We got to talk Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro. Last night Sunday night, we saved it for the Ryan Dunn breakout watch. These dudes are playing so freaking well, they need a whole segment to themselves. So let's check in on both the 22nd and 40th overall picks who are demanding playing time coming up next. First, today's show is brought to you by BetterHelp, making therapy easier, more accessible, and smoother for everybody. Halloween lets us have fun with what scares us, but what about the fears that don't involve zombies and ghosts and things like that? Therapy can be a great tool for facing everyday fears and finding ways to overcome them. Because sometimes the scariest thing is not facing those fears in the first place and holding yourself back as a result. BetterHelp is all about the day-to-day, the basic, the finding the best version of yourself and learning how to live that life all the time. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try, face those fears, be your best self, and try it out. It's entirely online, convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you got to do to get started is fill out a brief questionnaire, get matched with a licensed therapist, and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Overcome your fears with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. And we're back. Let's keep it rolling here, Ben. So, final score, 105-97. We are at the buzzer now here. Suns win. I want to remind everybody to check out Locked On NBA to get season preview coverage at a national level. Also want to plug that Locked On Suns big board bets. Make your picks, make your opinions known, and we'll go through those as we wrap up the preview of the season here in the next couple of weeks. Ryan Dunn, Ben, had, 17 minutes, 10 points, 4 rebounds, a steal, and 2 blocks. Oso Ighodaro, 21 minutes, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks. At times, those were we talked about KD. If you told me those two guys were 2 of the 3 best players on the court for the Suns, I wouldn't argue with you.
I don't know what. So I'm going to go glaringly just on Ryan Dunn. You know, this was a guy that I was banging the table for last year on the radio. I knew the offense thing needed some work, but everyone that I talked to, and I had multiple people on the show covering Virginia basketball, all said the shot is not broken. We're not really sure why it's not going in. Maybe he just needs extra coaching. But even aside from that, this rookie, and I guess we'll get into the rotations in a little bit, but it's hard to mention. He's the first guy to come in along with Oso Ighodaro. But the Oso one, I could say, well, there's no use of Nurkic. Like, there's no one in the way of Ryan Dunn outside of maybe Grayson Allen, but I still don't think so. Ryan Dunn stripping Cade Cunningham, where you don't get that call as a rookie. If you are not perfectly precise, they call a foul on you because you're a rookie. And then being able to take it down court and splash a transition 3 or get in passing lanes. I mean, seriously, this guy's the X factor. We've said it all year long. This guy, Ryan Dunn, is the X factor. It's not Oso Ighodaro. It's Ryan Dunn. If Oso Ighodaro was good, great. And I'm about ready to start pounding the table for how short the leash is for Mason Plumlee. I almost said Miles Plumlee again. These kids are phenomenal, man. And credit to James Jones. I have 0 worries in my brain right now that both of those guys are going to be massive busts. Now, could they not pan out? Maybe. But all I can ask for in a second-round pick is Oso Ighodaro is do exactly what he did tonight, and that was a little bit of everything. outside of his very first shot attempt where he airballed just a push shot, which whatever, it happens. Oso was pretty good tonight, especially defensively on the baseline. Again, there's no Anthony Davis to help push you around, but that's what these two guys were asked to do. And if Oso Ighodaro gets pushed around by Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, and Nikola Jokic, everyone is.
Yeah.
And so
if
those
the Suns
two guys
are put into a position where Oso is playing heavy minutes against Anthony Davis, either that game or the whole season has gone a little sideways, right? We're talking about a backup, and that's kind of what it is at the end of the day. And maybe there's something more beyond that. But I mean, look how quickly things have changed from Sunday to Tuesday. You and I were
he looks good, man.
Pumping the brakes a little bit on Oso, right? Like let's just chill on it. And I think tonight he did answer a lot of things. I mean, I want to be like, I guess, take responsibility for the line in the sand that I kind of drew with Oso, and it was the pick and roll defense, and I thought he was better with that tonight. I'm a little bit surprised still that they are switching him so infrequently and that they are having him drop so deep like they do with maybe a Nurk. I just sort of felt like his mobility and athleticism, I mean, obviously compared to a guy like Nurkic, it's not exactly hard to be more athletic than that, but I thought they were real weapons, right? Like, and so we'll see. Maybe it's just a matter of simplifying things, but regardless of how they've been using him, he was just better tonight. He had a block on Durant at the basket that was pretty nice. He just looked to be a little bit more comfortable. And look, this dude's IQ was one of the biggest things about him, so maybe we shouldn't be surprised that he's going to get better on a night-to-night basis and be one of those guys. He's also older, right, who just kind of is quicker to catch on than a typical rookie. As far as Ryan Dunn goes, am I expecting a pull-up three in every game? No. Am I expecting 3 of 5 from deep at all every game? Probably not. But the confidence is out of this world. He clearly is not only confident, Ben, but also being pumped up by this team in a way that I think is infectious. And mentioned KD guarding Cade Cunningham. Dunn had some pretty damn good moments defending the best player on the opposing team tonight as well. Played a little bit of that forward center in those small ball lineups with KD. They both just continue to check a lot of the boxes that we need for them to do, considering, look, the baseline is still, can they be role players? We're not asking them to be the stars of a title team. If you're asking me right now, can these two guys play 12, 15, 20 minutes a night and be impactful? How in the world could you say no right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was 2 things you had mentioned. The first thing about Ryan Dunn where you had said, am I expecting a pull-up 3 every night? Yeah, I'm not so sure. Gerald Bourguet tweeted this out. He had said, Ryan Dunn has made 5 threes so far in his last 2 preseason games. He made 7 in 35 games for Virginia. Someone has been in the lab where you and I had talked before when he had said his shot had gotten a lot better, and we both said, okay, we appreciate the confidence, but okay. It looks like a real, like even there was one miss that was really bad. All the other misses were pretty good. And then the Oso one where you had mentioned also Kevin Ray called him Oso Ighodaro, which was kind of funny. But Oso, you had mentioned they don't really trust him. He's dropping a lot on defense. It's kind of what I thought I saw from Summer League and watching a little bit of Marquette film. I'm not going to act like I'm this big film junkie. Is his lateral quickness doesn't seem great on the perimeter, but he held his own today in the post, and that's exactly what you need to do. And yeah, the same with the switching thing. I'm not really surprised that they're switching him so much on the pick and rolls because they're kind of switching everyone on everything, which they didn't do a lot of, I felt like, or I guess I should say enough of last year, where they kind of got trapped, especially under screens. So,
well, what I was saying with Oso is that they're not switching him as much, which I thought that they might. You know, what I'm seeing so far is they're switching almost everything 1 through 4, and the centers are uninvolved. So we'll see. Maybe it's, again, I hear you. Maybe I'm a little more bullish on his mobility and athleticism kind of in those situations.
He's big. It's not a big deal, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, sure.
On the perimeter. On the perimeter is what I'm saying.
Yeah. But I mean, I think you would kind of hope, because he's probably not going to be necessarily this, statue at the rim swatting every single shot in sight, that if you're getting the most out of an athletic center, you do maybe want to have his, like a Bam Adebayo or something like those guys tend to be players you can switch at times. So, but we'll see. I mean, again, we're already like, doesn't it show how quickly they've gotten better that we're being that like nitpicky about it? Like how they should deploy him as a center and stuff. It's like in the defensive role, that just shows you how good they've already been.
And this is just where I felt like we've always been fair, where, listen, if there's a reason to get hyped up about a player, I will not blow smoke. And today, now, again, it's 2 games, but Mason Plumlee's leash is looking a little bit shorter. A little, because Mason Plumlee was not great tonight. I mean, I texted you and I joked with you. I said DFA Mason Plumlee, and then effectively after that, he missed a free throw. He was not aggressive at the rim.
He might have worse touch than Nurkic around the basket. How's he missing layups? I thought Nurk was uniquely weird with that. And now we got another dude on the team who's dropping, weird ones behind his head and all sorts of things. 1 of 4, he's a center. Okay, on that note though, let's close out by talking about the rotation. Let's just spend a whole bunch of time trying to sift through who's going to play. Who's in this rotation, top to bottom. Grayson Allen didn't play tonight, but I think we know he's in it. We'll see where we can fall on that debate next. First, today's show is brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook. NFL fans and NBA fans start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get that hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more, all on the same page where you place your bets. Get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Let us see here. Is there opening night odds yet for the Suns? Probably not. They don't know the injury situation. You got futures in the NBA. Maybe you throw a little money on Book for MVP or something just to feel better for a few minutes. Who knows? Cardinals still underdogs on the road in Green Bay. Regardless, you're getting those $200 all straight to your account in bonus bets at FanDuel.com. Let's close out the show, Ben. Okay, so starting lineup. Mike Budenholzer told us what it was before preseason, so we know that. Tyus Jones, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Yusuf Nurkic, right? Okay. Grayson Allen, 6th man. Didn't play tonight, but he's going to be the first guy off the bench. I would say, we didn't really touch on like the 3-point whole thing tonight because I think it just went as we expected. Honestly, was at another level. But you did kind of feel, in my opinion, you tell me what you think, not having Grayson Allen out there, you're like, oh, he's valuable. Because there were some lineups where, yes, they're chucking threes, but I'm like, I don't know if I want that guy to necessarily be the one doing that. And you really missed, when Grayson can put up 8 and make like 4, that really does add something.
Oh, I'm sorry. You don't want Josh Okogie chucking threes from the left wing?
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, he missed bad a few times. Yes, Grayson Allen still holds a lot of value, especially the second unit. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. So 6th man. And
yes,
then,
without a doubt. Without a doubt.
What after that?
It's gotten a little dicey with 2 games now, Brendan.
Dicey, but kind of in a good way, right?
In a great way. What do you? So we talked about. I think it was like my 3rd show here. Like, all right, what's the starting lineups going to be? And we kind of held it off because I'm a crazy person. You're like, let's not give the audience this right away. I had Royce O'Neal in my perfect world starting lineup a month ago. Royce O'Neal was the 9th guy off the bench today. Ryan Dunn is like, he's over Royce O'Neal. This is what I'm going to expect to see on opening night. And the Oso one, I'm not sure yet because I got to see it when Nurk is in. This team, they might be deep, Brendan. Like, they might be, like last year, we thought they were going to be somewhat deep. Like, are they 10 guys deep? Did you see the same thing I did? Like, if Royce O'Neal is coming, the first thing I thought was like, is he going to be okay running behind Ryan Dunn? Like, I actually do care a little bit what Royce O'Neal has to think.
It was funny. Dwayne Rankin in the locker room posted a video after that Lakers game. And shout out to Dwayne. I'm not saying he shouldn't have done this, but he was talking to Royce about Dunn's performance. And I'm like, that might become a dicey line of questioning before long to have Royce be pumping up the kid who's taking his minutes. You know what I mean? It's coming. So yeah, I don't think you're wrong. I think Dunn is the seventh man on this team right now. I'm gonna go down from there. So Monte Morris has looked closer to Minnesota Monte Morris and Pistons Monte Morris from last year than the dude in Denver, unfortunately. I'm not, trying to kill him, but I don't think it's like some kind of lock that he's going to be a night in, night out fixture here. Bull, we talked about, probably not a lot of room for him right now. So I would say Royce is probably the eighth man. You can never have too many wings and forwards coming off. So that's Grayson, Dunn, and Royce, 8. We'll see between Plumlee and Iguodaro for the backup center minutes. That gets you to 9. And I guess Monte Morris right now probably is just kind of rounding out with maybe 15 minutes a night or something. But a lot of that could change.
Oh, yeah, a lot of that can change. The Monte Morris thing, it might be even less. Like, there might be nights where we just don't even see Monte Morris because you have Bradley Beal backing up Tyus Jones. Can't believe I forgot his name. But you're backing up him, and then you're probably going to have
a traditional backup point
guard.
You're
You're going to, because I don't care about the traditional point guard thing with the backups. Devin Booker's probably going to run some point guard as well with the second units when they stagger those guys. I don't know where you're going to find minutes, and I don't care about this. I know the comment section will, but I don't care about this. I don't know where you're going to find minutes for Bol. I think
I think we're there already. I mean, they can be mad, but it's just what it is right now.
Well, this is what we've been saying. Like, it was what I was kind of championing for Oso Iguodaro until I was like, oh, man, he looked pretty good tonight. You are gassing up to set yourself to fail. Bol's been here for a few years now. Just let him be a fan favorite. Let him be the Frank Kaminsky who comes on and we all cheer for him because he's a JV kid playing varsity. No disrespect to Bull, but that's what I mean in that instance. So I think you have it right. That's a 9-man.
I just think it's a matter of what this team needs right now, right? I mean, they don't need what guys like Dunn and Iguodaro do just because of the nature of some of their other players. Nurkic is not an intense, athletic, forceful player. Kevin Durant is on the older side. Beal and Booker can be, but you don't want them to necessarily always have to be channeling that. You want role players who can do it. Royce O'Neal, not a forceful, athletic, overwhelming guy. You've talked about that Derek Lively impact, what he was able to provide for that Dallas team. Whatever example you want to give, you need that in the NBA right now. So that's why I think Royce and Bull and Mason Plumlee, those guys are maybe on a certain version of a team could still have a really, really big impact, but I don't think it's a surprise. I mean, that's why they drafted these guys, right? It's why we were all so hyped up on draft night when they got them, is because it felt like such a clear filling in of a gap. But also, look, I mean, in the same way you can make a case for the rookies and say that this is getting tighter and they're already overtaking certain players and whatever else, there's also a little bit of a safety net for them where they don't have to do this, right? Nobody's going to be upset if Mason Plumlee's playing all of a sudden, or Monte Morris takes up some more minutes, or Royce O'Neal is back to being the type of guy that he was last year. So you're right. This team is just super deep, and I think this whole preseason has reinforced that Mike Budenholzer is going to have almost too many good options.
Which is a good thing to have, because last year we didn't have any options outside of the 4 players, 5, Grayson Allen and Nurkic, and then Beal, Booker, and Durant. It just leads me to think this team might just be one player away at the deadline if it all works together. And you know what you have? Players that other teams might actually want, contracts that might be valuable. This is a position that I did not think the Suns were going to be in. As much as I loved Ryan Dunn, I was like, he's a rookie. He's a late first-round rookie. He's probably not going to be that guy right away, although he can contribute. It's just champagne problems, man. Bull, I don't think is going to see the floor on a night in, night out basis. Monte Morris, I don't think is going to see the floor on a night in, night out basis. Like, I think 15 minutes for Monte Morris is like, that's really high, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's where I think it's at.
Even Damian Lee's minutes have looked pretty decent.
Yeah, no.
But like, I don't think he's going to play. But that's my point. Is I'm like, it's not like he's been awful. You know what I mean? And you didn't have him last year. So it is night and day.
He means more than Monte Morris
season.
because at least he adds the 3-point element. Like Monte Morris isn't a bad 3-point shooter, but I'd rather have Damian Lee's 3-point shooting. And like, if you're going to bring someone off the bench to do it, unless you need a ball handler on the floor, you're going to bring that guy on. Not Monte Morris, who's, if I'm not mistaken, smaller as well than Damian Lee. So
it's been noticeable with Monte. He's like one of the players with everybody being so quick trigger. He's hesitant to bomb. When he's open, like he needs to be pretty wide open, I think, to be comfortable taking those shots. He kind of wants to work and get into the paint and cut and play Jokic ball. It's not like you watch him and you're like, no wonder that guy fits so well with Nikola Jokic. But this version of the team, you're right. He's not quite that gunner from deep the way that Bud wants everybody to be.
Yeah, I think the last thing that I would say on that is I'm not trying to trash Monte Morris or trash Royce O'Neal. The Suns, believe it or not, Suns fans, are a little injury prone. If Royce O'Neal's got to step into the starting lineup for 3 weeks because Kevin Durant turned an ankle, I don't think they're going to miss that much of a beat. Or if, I mean, God forbid, Tyus Jones turns an ankle, I'm more than fine with Monte Morris coming in. This is just added depth that you did not have last year.
Yeah.
We had games without Beal and Booker where we were but we were having Yuta Watanabe and Keita Bates-Diop play meaningful minutes. Like that's, I got to temper my expectations because what I've seen through 2 games is really impressive. Josh
Okogie was starting a lot of games early in the season. He's not going to be in the rotation. We haven't even said his name. You mentioned he missed a lot of ugly shots today. That was how his name came up in this episode, which is not wrong.
I think he had
took 2.
3. No, he missed them both. He missed them both. Okay.
Yeah,
all right,
2 of 7. So, yeah, look, and you, of course, it's preseason. It's fun to just kind of map everything out and everything. But you did kind of fast forward to the deadline, and I don't think you're wrong because that is not only getting excited about how this team has looked and what they could be with an extra piece is part of that. But I've been preaching this since they revealed their strategy over the summer. When you're deeper, it's easier to make trades because you're not sacrificing as much, right? You can take a hit and consolidate, and your team doesn't fall apart. And that's another wrinkle to having some more options that they did not have, is that they can go ahead and find one player, trade 2 for 1, and still be okay. So all of that is looking great. Hit follow or subscribe, guys. Don't forget to fill out those board bets. Become an everydayer. We got 3 more shows for you this week, more next week, and then the season. It's already on its way. We'll talk to you tomorrow.